connection? Like, how are like these connections gonna look like in even like 5 years? You know what I mean?
What do you think
like,
is gonna happen?
Oh God, that's so tough. Like,
Relentless march.
I don't know. People, I think like, I don't know if it'll happen that quickly, but like maybe like way down the line, like.
No, but I mean like in the next 5 or 10 years. 10 years.
Well, actually today, it's like not a real boycott or whatever, but like a lot of people who are artists on Instagram are boycotting the app for the day.
Yeah.
Because you cannot opt out of your pictures being used towards AI learning on Instagram anymore, or any Meta product.
Yeah.
But at least in North America you can. I think you can do it in other countries, but you can't do it on North America.
That's ridiculous.
It is
That's
fucking
crazy.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're an artist on Instagram, which you have to be, you have to be, like you are.
Your work will be stolen.
Yes, and there's nothing
That's
you can do
so
about
unfair.
it. So like people aren't for the next couple weeks, I guess. Like the idea is that like don't post on Instagram on Mondays if you're an artist. But like these companies don't really give that much of a shit about that.
They don't care about anyone
don't-
but themselves.
Well, because
and like how to
like
make money.
the thing is like whatever revenue they lose on this like fucking Monday
Yeah.
because like people aren't looking at their ads as
Oh,
much.
they don't care.
Like they'll just make up
Later on.
Yeah, they'll make up
Yeah.
when like some celebrity posts some big shocking
Yeah.
thing to Instagram and everybody opens their app to look.
Yep.
Like ultimately the people at the top, they're at the top for the reason they already have the means, they have the support, you know, they were probably born into such a position where like they can make like risky financial decisions or
Yeah.
like, you know, they have
Well, I mean, the role of the artist is so gone away. I mean, there's no place for people to sell it. There's no people
To flourish.
To flourish.
Yeah.
Back to the band thing. You have nowhere to practice. You know, you have
No
to pay
support.
the people. Everybody has to work. Then who's buying your music? You can't sell a CD, so you're just selling T-shirts with a fucking logo that's getting stolen off Instagram.
Yeah.
It's a pity
Right.
game now, which kills
Yeah.
me. Art is supported by people who pity you, and it's a horrible, horrible feeling.
It shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be that way.
But think about like, I mean, listen, I'm somebody who I do freelance commissions, and most of the time, like if somebody is reaching out to me like to design a poster or whatever, they need a poster and they do want me specifically to sell that. So it's a little different. However, when I sell at like art fairs and stuff like that, the whole time I'm sitting there and I'm like, most of the customers are feeling bad for me, and a lot of people are buying things and I know that they're doing this because it's a pity thing. They will buy like the smallest thing at the table, the cheapest thing at the table,
Yeah.
or like they'll buy something after we have like a long conversation.
Yeah.
And artists do that with other artists too, like bands. Like you go to like house shows or you do go to these art fairs or something like that. Everybody there is also a musician, or everybody there is also an artist. Like
That's what I think that tricks me out so much is that like I don't understand why everybody's not super pissed about it. People and we talk about music all the time. It's like I would think that people would be more angry that there are not shows, there's not tons of space for artists to perform or to flourish, or a app that pays artists. That if you want to easily Venmo somebody something,
Yeah.
you could just do it instantly and fast.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
So, to the layman, because this is the thing, every single one of us here is involved in entertainment somehow. So
Yeah.
we're in this bubble where we are looking at it and we're like, there's not enough venues, there's not enough apps, there's not enough exposure, there's not enough ways to give back to the artists. The layman doesn't know that. The layman goes on Bands in Town and sees all these shows that are happening in Boston. They don't give a shit that it's only across like 7 or 8 venues in a city with like 500 million people or something like that.
Yeah.
Not a billion. Am I fucking crazy?
No, but yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? They see that and they're like, oh, there's so much happening in Boston. There's a ton of music. And like when it comes to artists, like they go on Instagram and they're like, this artist has 217,000 followers. They're successful. I see so many successful artists. There's tons of art fairs around. Look at that. I see art everywhere. They don't understand that like the people that are producing this and putting it out are hanging by a thread.
I know. That's the real problem, I think, of it.
They just don't get it. But that's why they're not mad, because they just, to them, it seems fine. That's also why they're not taking the AI thing seriously, because they don't understand that, like, you know, like maybe they, oh yeah, they heard about the SAG after strikes, but they didn't really understand why they were happening. They don't even know that like all these animation guilds are about to go on strike.
Do you think that that's an overwhelming like existential dread, like apathy forced onto people that are just accepting apathy, like not even fearing apathy at all? They're just like, whatever, I don't really care. Like, it is what it is, you know?
I
Because
think
that's
people-
kind of how I feel about it a little bit. I'm like, people don't really care. They're like, you know what? I can watch a show in my house with a couple of my friends, or a concert, where they don't. It doesn't mean as much to them, and I don't know if that's because they've never been introduced to it.
No, it's exposure. It's like overexposure. I think
Yeah.
people just get so used to shit that like when they see it now, it's just like, well,
I don't think
whatever.
they consider that it could go away.
yeah.
I don't think that people understand that movie theaters actually could
could
go
leave,
away.
like go out of business.
It's also
yeah.
the like disempowering thing. Like people
Yeah.
are like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well,
truthfully,
what
how
are
are
we
they
supposed- what are we supposed to do
Like,
about it?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I would think to me it's just like tipping, right?
Yeah.
I go to a place,
Yeah,
and you know, I don't make a ton of money, you know. If I've seen a tip thing there and I'm getting a fucking coffee, I'm giving $1.
Yeah.
Because I know that that person is getting jack shit,
Yeah.
right? And then people are like, well, why the fuck would you do that? They're just passing you something. It's like, because they're doing a fucking shit job and no one's paying them enough, and we're all in this together.
Yeah.
This is all one big shit pool.
But then
And
the
we're
longer
all-
you do that, like the businesses aren't going to pay them more. 'Cause they're
British
like,
people.
oh, you make tips.
Well,
you know what I mean? So
well,
it's like
I
this,
mean, that's a, you know,
perpetual thing.
yeah, it's a perpetual thing, but it goes into the same thing. Like, if there was an organization that was like, oh, we're gonna take the Crystal Ballroom and we're gonna find people to fill that venue up for the sake of Boston nightlife, that would be a good idea. They have a fucking person that is supposed to do that in Boston City Council, hasn't done shit. There is no one cares a lot, and that's what I'm different. I'm an old fuck now,
Yeah.
so it's like, you know, it's like I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not 20 years, I'm not 20 anymore.
Well, it's
When I
also
was-
a compartmentalization thing too, right? And like a prioritization. Like there are a lot of really terrible, awful things happening in the world. And people have struggles and stuff, and the arts are definitely on that list. But I think for a lot of people, they're like,
But
It's a little bit-
I,
a little bit lower.
I totally agree with you, but they always have been and they always will be.
yeah,
So it's just like in your face now. You pull it up and you're like, outside everything's great, but like, in my phone the world is fucked.
yeah,
That's existentially
so
dreading too.
fucked.
yeah.
But again, you have to have a balance of like, you know, I got one life. I want
Yeah.
to feel.
Having
I want to
hope.
feel good. I want to dance. I want to
Yeah.
go to a show. I want to like actually feel stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and like it's all about preservation too. You know what I mean? Like how like there are still people who like appreciate theaters like this, small businesses, like they want to preserve it.
Yeah.
But is it enough? Like, are there enough people out there? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the numbers are dwindling
Well, I mean,
constantly,
also,
which
like,
is
they
sad.
want easy ways to support.
They
Think about how many
do.
people like would otherwise never donate to charity unless those little. They do because like those little screens at the grocery store pop
Yeah.
up. Like, would you like to round up and donate to like children's blood cancers?
But then it only benefits the tax bailouts from the corporation. So it's
I
like
know, but people don't know that. They still want to feel.
they don't know that. Like
When I worked at Spirit Halloween,
Yeah.
like it was like
You worked at Spirit Halloween?
you worked at Wegmans.
you know more famous, layered, and complicated.
Wait, and you grew up in Agawam, right?
Swagawam, Massachusetts, yes.
Did you say Swagawam?
Swagawam.
That's what me and my friends call it. Swagawam Mass, baby. But when I worked at Spirit Halloween, we had one of those like roundup donation
Yeah.
things, and like. I mean, in theory, I think that like the money was supposed to go towards.
Oh, it goes
like,
towards it. It just
It's,
but
like,
it helps the
real.
corporations.
But like, I don't even think all of it. I think it's like, like of your 20 cents that you're donating, I think it's like 10% goes towards
Yeah.
the actual.
But regardless,
charity.
there could be grassroots more thing. There could be like
Yeah.
I'll say this for hip hop bands or
Yeah.
hip hop nights in places in Boston, like the Royale, like Bijou.
The Jungle too, actually. Jungle has like.
They'll have like an organization that'll be like, this thing's happening at this place, and Now the music there is not really what I would prefer,
Yeah.
and it's usually like bottle service, and you're paying like $400 for like a $20 bottle of vodka, and you know it's cheap and sort of gross.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Yeah.
So I would much prefer something like a great place to go and dance, but there's not a lot of places that do that. Even when I lived in New York, it was tough. I lived
I
in
never went out in New York.
I lived in the East Village, and I was like, there'll be places around here.
So
You know, I had to go out to Bushwick. I had to go
Yeah.
out to East Williamsburg.
Yep.
And even then, it was not that different than here.
Yeah.
It was just on a bigger scale.
They don't make
But
music.
there's-
they
but
don't
there
make
was
music
places-
that you can pop your pussy to anymore. Like, I think that's key to this
Oh,
conversation.
you can. I do.
you just
Right?
do.
You-
The old music is sick. I would go to any
Yeah.
disco night. If they had a disco
Me
night,
But
I
too.
would,
it's not new music. It's
but it
like
doesn't
not-
matter.
it's
That
old
this is
music.
something
It
that
does
me and
matter.
you,
It
no,
does
it doesn't.
matter.
You know
Oh,
what I
it
hate about new
does.
music? I'll tell this what I hate about new music too. Nobody fucking covers songs. They're like covering a song. I won't do that. Oh my god, that's like you know. Every single band that you know that you like from a long time ago, they all covered songs,
Yeah.
and they fucking rocked.
We used to do it as Mammoth all the time.
Hell yeah, but it's not common, right?
No, I wasn't. Yeah.
See?
It was almost like kind of like taboo.
People would
if
be
you
like
were playing-
snobby.
Yeah, like if you were playing at like like a originals music and you're on like a bill or something, like we would whip out like Talking Heads and LCD Sound System sometimes, and I could kind of get a sense that the other people who were like playing the original music were like, come on, that's gonna kill, because it's like everybody knows this song.
But why?
Oh,
But
it's
it's like,
taboo.
I'm trying to
Other
put on a good
musicians.
show. We're just trying to have a good time.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
All new musicians should cover songs because it's like that's how you learn to make other than that cool stuff.
Yeah.
The Misfits did like the song Donna. That's like a 50s song, completely different song. Amazing.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna cover a song, you should try and make it your own at the very least.
100%, but bare minimum, like, do something. You know,
Yeah.
my biggest gripe with the punk bands, the garage rock bands around here, is that you can't understand any of the fucking lyrics. No one even cares. They're half drunk. No one really even is like that good at playing. Doesn't take it seriously. And then on top of it all, you're like, where do I like follow you or do it? Like, I don't even care. Whatever, you know. You know, and it's in some basement somewhere. Like that's not a good way to get a good following and thing. And I don't need it to be like Green Day. But it would be nice to like find out where your lyrics are and be able to.
Yeah, but then you have the other end of the spectrum where like a band is like so polished. I'm thinking of like some Berkeley bands that play Pure Bills
Yes.
with.
Oh
where
my
they're,
God,
That's more
They're
my
like
experience.
the
Connor.
Berkeley-
yeah, they're like so
Kids.
polished and they've like got like their Instagram tag
Yeah.
like visible on stage, and you're like, this is a little too.
They're like plugging
corporate-y.
themselves in between songs.
Oh, yeah.
They also, I will say,
Follow
they're
me
not
on
drunk
Insta.
enough.
No.
Like they're too professional. We need to find
There is a
out.
spectrum there.
There is
Yeah.
a spectrum, and everybody's on one or the other
It's
side of it.
extremes. It's always extremes.
There's not enough parties
It's like
at
politics.
these shows.
Yeah,
That's the
for
thing. The
real.
house show is, it's kind of, the house part is almost like incidental. But it's like, if I was to host a house show, and maybe, this is easy for me to say because I'm currently not, right? Like, it's, you know, I don't have to like worry about like cleanup or property damage. But if I'm having people over and I'm telling them they can drink and there's a band, you know, let's get some fucking lights in here. Let's put them, I mean, you know what? Let me put a movie on in the living room so if somebody wants to step out for a second, they're not just gonna leave altogether.
Yeah.
They can just chill
That's a
for
proper
second.
house party, but that's not
Yes.
sustainable. You can't do that every weekend.
But you don't
Oh,
have to do it every weekend.
What-
Which
what-
one's not?
Tom, what was it like? Sort of like even around you, like somebody that would come with their crate of records, right? And do a DJ set.
Oh yeah, they
You know?
definitely would.
And then like another DJ would just replace that one and maybe
Yep.
not even the records.
Yep.
I mean,
exactly. They would.
that worked for fucking decades, right?
Yeah.
It
I mean-
still happens at times.
Yeah.
You just don't see
But,
it,
no, you don't.
and I don't understand why.
Like,
Why do you think it? Why? I mean,
No idea. Technology is supposed to make things better, but it
Bad, easier,
so does
better.
technology play a real role into it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, most-
Yeah, I mean, like you go to
Totally.
a lot of like clubs
Totally.
and stuff, and like there's not even a DJ. It's just like some random.
It's just
mix.
a playlist.
Yeah, people think
Or-
that they can mix their
Oh
own
my God,
venues.
or
Like, they'll
that.
just be like, I'll just put on my Spotify
It's
mix.
lazy. It's
Or if
lazy.
there is a DJ, literally it's all on their computer. They just hit a
Yeah,
button.
boop boop.
One of my
boop,
one of my
Click
friends is a
clacking.
DJ. He does have the nice proper setup.
Yeah.
But he tells me all the time, like, yeah, most of the guys in the scene are, and unfortunately also it is a lot of like straight guys, which I think that also, you know, in my opinion, I think that the girls, the gays, and the theys,
They know.
they know.
They're part of the culture. Of course they know. We need more of them.
But the
We need
straight,
more of them.
the straight dude DJs, I think that a lot of them, they are doing the laptop shit. And the
Yeah.
guys that are taking the time to learn the actual, like basically actually learn how sound engineering works, how
Yeah.
does sound work. They're fewer and far between because people just want instant gratification. They just
True.
want to be good immediately.
But
They
let
wanna
me
be a DJ
pull back. But
immediately.
technology, right?
Yeah.
Newer decks, newer
Yeah.
things, computerized, digitalized turntables. Before, it wasn't like this crazy hip hop, like switching over in the late 70s and early 80s. Like, you just played fucking records and then you
Yeah.
go "Vroom," into another record. I'm just doing
Right.
this. "Vroom," into another record. And that was it. It wasn't as complicated and crazy.
Yeah.
And people were dancing like nuts.
They didn't need to be though because when they were on Quaaludes,
Right.
But also
The drugs.
but
does
also the music was
So
like,
much better.
It was "I Feel Loved" by Donna Summer, bro. Like
But then why can't you just have a Donna Summer's
Yeah,
night?
there are, and people do go to them and they sell out. Glitter Boys sells out.
But why
every
don't they
single
make
weekend.
music like that anymore?
handing you the
Many,
mic.
many moons ago, there was a club called Napoleon's. It was the oldest gay bar in Boston.
Oh my god.
And every Saturday night, my friends and I would end up going there because it was Saturday Night Disco, and they would play all the old disco songs
Yes.
for hours on end, and it was amazing.
Yes.
And they just don't do
You
that
gotta go to
anymore.
Glitter Boys.
See, why
We
don't they
gotta
do that?
go.
They just
Glitter Boys
don't.
is good.
And they always ended with Last Dance by Donna Summer.
Love that.
What do they end with?
Last Dance?
Oh, adore.
I just have some sort of like romantic thing about that time period,
No, it was fun.
you know? Because it's just like you feel like back then people are kind of going through what we're going through as far as like not making a lot of money, inflation, you know, crazy politics with like, you know, the end of Vietnam War and all this stuff. And they're out there having a ball and dancing it out
It was fun.
and having fun. And I feel like now people go to shows and they just take their cell phones out.
Do you think part of it has to do with the technology? Because like, so back then, like most people discovered music through like the radio and like going to the record store, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like shopping and listening to generally the same stuff, right? I'm sure you have like niche listens. but
Yes.
Now everything, because all of the way we consume music is filtered through algorithms. So
Yes.
if I'm on Spotify, Spotify looks completely different to me than it does to all of you.
That's true.
Yeah.
So all of our music tastes are like completely segmented, and I'm sure we overlap in certain spots. But like, if you go out to a club, you take a random sample of 10 people, they're all gonna want a different song to be
Yeah.
played. So like, how can you broadcast like a fun DJ night that's
Yeah.
gonna please a mass audience?
You say it's disco night or something like that, or you say it's like 90s trip hop.
But like everyone's gonna have a relationship to disco because it's in the past. But
Yeah.
like if you go to like if you have like a hyper pop night, for example,
Yeah.
you're gonna get an extremely niche group of people there.
And it'll be fun, but it will be small.
Yeah.
And then where is everybody else going that night? That's why like that's also I think another reason that these nights don't last that long, or they're only like they're not venues, they're like pop-ups in a bar, or they're pop-ups at like you know, a place like Crystal that does do like regular concerts, but you know, like kind of supplements with like a hyperpop night. Because it's like the niches for, you know, music scenes are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think and listen, just based off like the human condition, this has to have always been true. Bitches get tired. They just got off of work. They didn't eat dinner. They didn't sleep that well the night before. They're dehydrated. There's always gonna be people who leave early. I don't think that that's new.
Bro, the
But-
drugs.
but they don't have the same drugs. And also, I think that like when you have like these smaller niche events, it's just a lot more noticeable when people leave. Like if like a group of 10 people leaves at a hyperpop night and there's only 90 people
It's
there,
over.
dude, no, people will start getting freaked out and they're like, okay, maybe we should like go home, maybe we should move on because I don't want to be. It's like
Yeah.
super awkward to be like the last person in the club.
But,
like, I don't wanna
but
be
I
out
mean,
here when the lights go on.
those are specific examples.
wrap it up.
What I'm saying is there's not enough like every Saturday type of things, like you were saying. Like
Yeah.
you knew every Saturday at Napoleon
Yep.
there was gonna be there,
Yep.
and it was gonna,
Yeah.
and the place was filled every weekend.
That doesn't
right?
really exist anymore.
But
But they
Sam,
exist
why?
in these
Why? What is the
side
solution?
initiatives.
What is the
I don't
solution?
know.
It doesn't make money anymore.
It doesn't make money.
Venues don't make money.
They do off alcohol.
Barely. Because
not
people will
enough.
pregame because they know how to trick the system.
Yeah, we,
It's super
we
expensive.
kept them very well supplied
Yeah.
with drinking.
Venues, this is not, I'm not even like making this shit up. Like venues around the city, even the big popular ones are all struggling because
Yeah.
it is so expensive to run a venue, and because of alcohol sales, like we've talked about this before too, that like a lot of like people just aren't drinking as much anymore
Yeah.
for a variety of reasons. Venues just can't keep up.
But then you make something else cool. You go, here's orange juice, grapefruit, and pineapple with
Yeah.
no alcohol in it. You know, $5.
I'm not drinking that.
It'll be like
I'm not
$10,
drinking
you know
that when
what
I go out,
Yeah.
bro. If I'm going like this, I'm not.
That's a reflex.
There's gotta be something you can drink.
But
Water.
I'm gonna no. That's the thing though. Is like if people are going out to the club, they probably are drinking.
Yeah.
People do drink, but
They
it's what Liz was
drink, but
saying.
not as much.
And they pregame. They get so fucked up.
Yeah, because they're like, we're gonna go. We'll have like maybe a
See,
drink or
I
two,
don't-
and then
I-
we're
and people
good.
get high.
I
too.
disagree. I think people just don't care. I really do. I really think that people are just sort of checked out, and they're like, if they knew that it could be possible for that to happen, and it was happening, people would go, but they're like, nah, I'm not gonna take that chance. I'm not gonna go out there because it's not an established thing. It doesn't happen every Saturday. Every Saturday it doesn't happen. So I'm taking a risk. I'm going in there and it's gonna be whack, and that's my whole night.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you go somewhere like the Crystal, you could go to the Burn and bounce around, but even that's pretty light.
Yeah,
That's
fine.
not like
fair.
5 different choices.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to dance all night. Sometimes you want to like meet somebody when you're dancing, go to a bar and chat with them, have some coffee, do
Yeah.
whatever you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know.
Is there also like a local aspect to this? Like you were talking about the Royale and like the Paradise, right? But those acts are always touring bands.
Yeah.
They're not, for the most part, they're not like local.
Or DJs.
Yeah, but like it's not like a local, like
No.
round roots kind of.
The
scene,
DJs aren't
you know?
even local. The DJs are also
Yeah,
touring.
they're all
Holly
touring.
D went through Big Night Live.
Some
you know?
some there are
Trixie
some
Mattel
DJs
just
that
played the other
do.
day.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
There are some DJs that
Oh,
do.
yeah?
It's just
Most on
like,
Instagram,
you know, I would go there and party if I knew every Saturday would be good. But since coming back from New York, I would go there and it's just sad shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like people are shooting the stuff everywhere. It is not a fun atmosphere. The music is terrible. No one's really dancing. People are on their phone.
Our shift started at 3:30, just so you know. But yeah,
All right.
otherwise, yeah. So we have like an hour.
Albatross, take 3. Actually, let's start off. Can you just take it, Ligon, say what you were saying.
I told them.
No,
Yeah.
can we just get a shot of it though? Yeah, go.
Wait, what do I say?
What you were trying to tell us?
Yeah,
The topics everyone's been talking about ties into technology and how technology is so convenient nowadays. It kind of creates hurdles and barriers for going out and doing anything else. So whether it's music, dating, films, and all the topics we've been talking about, it's so hard because it's not just money anymore. You need to try transportation. You need to do research. You need to, if it's like whether Dylan was talking about, like, is it a night, if you're going to listen to music, is it either going to be a super niche thing that you're even going to like? So if you're going to spend $60 that night anyway, why don't you just get a bunch of friends at your house, get a bunch of friends online,
Get some
and watch-
food.
get some food, and then food's going to be $60, and then you have a free movie at your house with your friends, smoke some weed, like, that's a good time right there, instead of going out to the club, spending like hundreds of dollars potentially, you know, like as a group. It's just way more inconvenient. And
Do you
technology,
think there's a thing in between that? Do you think that there's like a line
well,
in between
well,
that?
there was a line in between that, especially in the 90s, 2000s, when you were growing up. You could still have technology and it'd be cool and still go out and do stuff with your friends. But now you're out with your friends, half of them are on their phone. You know what I mean? So just that there, it blows the funness of being outside. It becomes convoluted with technology when it's supposed to make it more convenient.
So you have had that happen to you in the last 5 years. You're 20 now, right? Do you think in 5 years you're going to be the same person that you were from before?
Well, it's not just about being the same person. It's just how technology is so pervasive. Like, if I'm hanging out with my friends, or that situation I was talking about before, where you have your 6 friends and you're watching a movie at your place, again, half those people are going to be on their phones. So like, yes, you're going to be a different person, and part of that is because technology and what you're taking in, like, if you're on Instagram for 2 hours to 5 hours a day, like, that's going to change your brain chemistry. You're going to be flipping through reels, and you're going to want that instant satisfaction. So sure in 5-10 years you're gonna only want that satisfaction. So going out to venues is gonna be like even harder. Like that's gonna be like what's the word? Like it's just gonna be harder for
Obsolete.
people. It's gonna be harder for people to sit down and watch a movie for 2 hours when they're so used to scrolling through their phone. It's literally gonna change your brain chemistry.
Well,
What do y'all think about that?
I
I will-
agree.
Oh boy.
100%.
You agree 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it with my parents. Like, you know, growing up, like my parents used to watch movies and TVs, and I like watched them just sit on the couch, like with their hands in their lap, and just like watch what was on television. And now I literally cannot sit and watch anything with my parents without like them looking over, and they're like going through reels.
Constant. I
And
catch
I'm like-
myself doing that all the
And
time.
I'm
But
like,
do you-
Dad, you're missing serious plot points right here.
So maybe a thing of being like we're putting our phone in a fucking box type of thing when we watch a movie. Like where is the psychology going? Because someone's gonna come out with a thing that's gonna go, listen, doing this is gonna give you Alzheimer's faster. And then people are gonna go, oh my
I
god.
genuinely think there's gonna be like a tobacco moment for
Uh-huh.
social media, like
Yeah.
in decades. Like
Agreed.
they're gonna be like, how did we allow companies to do this?
But I'm saying, what's gonna be the thing that triggers that out, other than like the dreading situation we're already in?
I
in
would
mind.
maybe I like sometimes I don't know if this would happen, but I could envision like a countercultural like young people movement where they're like we don't do social media. I mean that would be great.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
that
that's
would
wishful
be
Yeah.
thinking.
amazing.
But
But-
social media
Let's
is
get
also such a
together.
No,
great
seriously, that's
avenue
gonna
to
be
It is a
learn.
great tool, but I mean like
I'm the young
it's
generation,
literally
right?
designed to keep you trapped.
Yes.
Like explicitly. That's what it's for. It's to just keep you like with the app open.
But I can't just blame them though, because it's just like alcohol or food or anything. It's like, you know, yes, if you put alcohol in my hand every single time,
Yeah.
that's some. If I'm coming over to your house and I'm like, drink with me every single time I see you, that's like enabling. But if I'm going and picking up my 6-pack, everything, I'm making that choice.
Yeah, but everybody's drinking the same 6-pack, right? The algorithms are personalized
Yeah.
for you. There's nothing else really quite like that.
And it's so interesting you say the thing about the parents, because I wouldn't have thought that. But it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else's parents are like that.
Yeah,
but
what
my
about-
parents are like
1000%.
on their phone.
Well-
I have to tell my mom to get off her phone like, while she's driving.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I've noticed it with myself. When I was
Yeah.
younger, I would like when I first got my phone, I would always make sure it was turned off when I was watching TV or doing something.
Yeah.
And now it's in my lap and it's on. And
All the time.
if I get the slightest bit bored, my attention goes right to my phone, which is ridiculous.
Do you think that's because you're stopping caring about other things, or you're like apathy has taken over?
I just think it's gotten to the point where you want instant gratification so
Yeah.
quickly that the second something doesn't do what
Just
you
do
think
it.
it's supposed to, you go to try to find something else.
Wait, but like, no, correct me if I'm wrong, but like with people like your age or like Dylan's age, like you guys are a little older, like you didn't have access to,
70,
you
80.
didn't grow up with technology, so
No,
it's
I
like
did
more
not.
of a novelty. To
I
it.
did. I totally did.
When I grew
totally
up,
did.
we had 3 stations, and I used to have to get up and turn the channel. There wasn't even
Yes,
a remote.
okay.
control.
Didn't they stop at a certain hour too? And then it would
Yeah,
be like
at
a
midnight
like, you
it
had, like
would
a Pledge of
stop, and you would
Allegiance.
get like Poltergeist. You get the.
Yes.
But
static.
you also went to movies a lot more, I bet.
I did. I was.
Yeah.
Well,
And I bet your
was-
parents did too.
Yeah.
Like multiple times a week.
Basically, when I said I got that job for 25 cents an hour, it's because I wanted to go to the movies more than.
Yeah.
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 There you go, that makes
I,
sense.
I grew up with cable TV,
Yeah.
video games,
Yeah.
unbelievable blockbuster movies, music videos galore. I mean, I was a sick kid. I mean, there was nothing better than having a fucking box of dreams of everything in this little thing at all times.
Well-
It was, you know, everybody warned me. They go, "Oh my God, you're gonna be addicted to video games your whole life. You've been playing it all this time."
Well,
blah,
I
blah."
think it's important to differentiate like technology from social media. It's like the hardware and the software.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
technology is a great tool, but it's what you do with it. And social media is designed to just keep you there, so you're looking at ads, so they make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think social media is the reason why everybody doesn't go out and dance though, or like.
Really?
Yeah,
I think.
I would say
I
it
would
is.
say
I would
it
say
You
it is.
think so?
I
Yes.
think it is.
1,000%.
I think if you're just saying social media, you're not saying specifically the internet. Like, if you want to see the internet looking up stuff and doing things, but like specifically social media,
Yes, specifically social
Specific-
media.
Specific-
I think it's both. I think
Yeah.
internet and social media, because you can, it makes it so easy for you to be like, well, I could go out, but also I have all of this right here in front of me.
Yeah,
Why don't I
that's
just
true.
use it? and
I'm gonna
do
argue
that
social
instead?
media only because, and you know, obviously you guys are, you know, 60, 70, 80 years old, so like you guys have more experience on the internet than I did when I was a kid. But when, like in the 2000s,
But actually, we don't have more experience because the internet, when you were a kid, was just coming out, so that's when we just got into it.
so I'm the authority then. Okay.
Yeah.
You're the
So,
authority.
for like, I would say, from my personal experience, from about, you know, 2000 or so to like 2013, which I was born in 1999, so I can really speak about that. But the
30
internet was not cool. Normal people did not really spend a lot of time on the internet. They dabbled with Facebook and they would play like little games on Facebook and talk to each other on Facebook. But that was really it. It wasn't, and also it wasn't that cool. to
Very
be-
nerdy.
It was pretty
Yeah.
nerdy. If you went on forums, you are a fucking dork. If you if you're finding out,
Sadie.
but
Wow.
that's the truth of it.
My life.
I know, and I know this.
Burn.
I know this because I was that dork when I was growing up. I got so much shit for being an internet person, but social media is, you know, palatable to, you know, normal, socially adjusted.
Mainstream.
The mainstream, you might
people.
say.
It's trendy. It's cute.
Yes.
It's fun. It's flirty. Like.
The internet as like a blanket,
Yeah.
right, of just like, you know, research and connection and learning. Laughs.
Live
That's,
up.
you know, like, I don't think it's the internet's fault that like people aren't like going out and dancing or aren't engaging, because the internet is actually like a great tool to find out about certain things. Like, you know who thrives on the internet are these niche subcultures we were talking about.
Yeah.
The goth scene has gotten a complete second life
That would-
because of the internet.
I think that's more social media.
I mean,
That's
social
way
media
more
is a,
social media than the internet.
the social media part is like a part of it, like, because social media is how the internet like keeps the lights on at this point.
Well, it's like
But,
I don't know if a party's really happening unless I look at their Instagram page and like it's like, oh, live right now this is happening, or
Yeah.
like a Facebook group of like everybody who likes industry or goth music.
Sure, but social media like doesn't have to be what it is right now. It can be
Definitely
different,
not.
You know what I mean?
Well-
Again, it's just a tool.
How would you change it?
I
I'll
think
be so
short form
toxic.
content
Yeah.
is not good for you.
Yeah.
First off.
But then you already have YouTube. People use YouTube, and then there's
YouTube
Reddit.
has short form content. too.
Yeah, but like,
No, I know.
I like YouTube videos, but YouTube Shorts, it's like I have to throw my phone and get out of there sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Same
of
thing
course.
with Reels. Like, I mean, it's no wonder that like YouTube has Shorts now and Instagram has Reels now. They all looked at TikTok and went, holy shit.
It's all the same
Kids
thing.
can't just a phone down.
Rebranding.
I know.
Yeah.
So
it's
like
so stupid.
social media could be a really cool tool for people to connect and learn about events and stuff, but
And it is.
and it
And it is.
But on top of that, they need to make money off advertising, so they need you to stay in the
I
app
feel like
as
it
long
doesn't
as
give
they
you a
can.
choice. Like the internet like is your oyster. You know what I mean? But social media is just kind of like.
But isn't
Social
it, if
media
you're doing
makes
a,
you placated.
if
Yeah.
you're a grassroots thing, isn't it you make the choice, you make it happen? I feel like you guys aren't blaming the consumer as much.
It's the.
It's, I'm sorry,
I'm
it's not
blaming
the
the consumer.
consumer. It's not the
Oh,
consumer.
I totally blame the consumer.
No, I'm
It's
blaming
not
the
100.
The technology exists,
Yeah.
but the reason people aren't going out is because they're choosing to do the technology over going
But
out.
they're
to-
being
But why?
influenced
But
to do
why?
it.
They're being influenced, like Liz
They're
is
being
saying.
influenced because
it's easier.
it's easier.
You don't have
These
to put it-
people are making so
That
much
is a
money
consumer choice.
off
It's a consumer
convincing
choice.
people, these consumers, to consume.
That's
like,
the thing.
But
It is a consumer choice, but why is the consumer making that choice? Why do you choose?
because you live your life, you are in control of everything you want.
No. Hold on. Because what we're trying to say is that
Yeah.
it's like the
It's a form of
influencer stuff.
manipulation in a way.
People aren't just coming up with the idea of like I should just stay inside.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing about like, let's just like sit around and watch and rent a movie and like we'll order Uber Eats. Who is telling people that that's cooler than going out? These fucking companies that have millions of dollars to trick you into thinking, like, the ads for like Uber Eats make it look so romantic and so comfortable and so easy. The
It's
ads for
ads.
Netflix, the cult of
It's
Netflix.
convenient, but it's not. It's like
People are gonna go.
I
"Oh, it's
feel like
easy."
the biggest the difference is like between our generations is like it was already a thing when you guys were growing up, it wasn't a thing to do those things.
Yeah.
So that's a big element. But at this point, if you're like over 25, it's like, if you're 18 or 17, I could totally get down with what you're saying. But like, after, it's like, you have a choice. People are choosing to stay inside because it's easy and convenient and they don't want to take risks.
Totally.
And I think that that's really
And they're
because,
broke.
Yeah, they're broke.
They're broke.
But you can get a bottle of wine and wander in a fucking park with a bunch of your friends and do nothing.
Kind of, but you'll get arrested.
No, you won't.
You can't do that. No, it
You
depends
can
on where
totally
you're at.
do it. I do it all the time.
Let me ask you this, Odin, because you agree with me. You seem to nod your head about the tobacco thing.
Yeah.
Would you tell people who were smoking that they had a choice to stop smoking?
Yeah. Very fair point. Very fair point. But we're also talking about mental, and we're also talking about, we don't really know the actual addictive things to it. Nicotine is a studied chemical.
They're
Not at the
starting to
time,
really
though.
study social
Yeah.
media, and,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm
And
not.
it was
I believe
sexy
you.
and hot to
I
smoke.
Just like
I
it's
believe
sexy
you.
and hot to be
I
popular
totally
online.
believe you.
It really affects your brain chemistry.
I totally believe you, but there's not something that's gonna be like I have an app limit set on my phone for fucking Facebook and stuff. 1 hour, right? That's it. Then every time I have to click and go, you're doing another 15 minutes, do another 15 minutes. That should be a more normalized thing.
See, to me, that is like a band-aid on the issue, though. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
like,
Yeah.
I
what
need another
makes
app
us
to make me
have
stop
to
using
It's,
limit
it.
it's better than nothing.
No, I don't know. I think, you know, that's good for people to make healthier choices and stuff, but, like, the fact that that's needed is kind of wild to me. You know what I mean? Like, if it was just a choice, then we wouldn't need those apps in the first place, those functions.
I just don't think anybody is really talking to like making those changes because they don't care. And I think a lot of people that are 20 to 25 don't really care.
They do care.
So here's
As somebody who is 20
They
to 25,
do.
they do care.
They do
It's just that
care.
like we can't like.
You
Okay.
can't convince everybody at once.
Yes.
Yes.
How can they change it?
That's
How can any of us
it.
change
How can I
That's
throw
exactly it.
what would be some ideas to do it?
I mean, like so
Break
what?
up the tech companies.
What me and my
mean-
friends do, yeah, seriously. What
That's
me and
never
my
gonna
friends
happen.
do on like a grassroots level is like, yeah, well, like, first of all, a lot of me and my friends have switched to calling each other when we
Nice.
want to do, or sending a voice memo. Like, that's a little thing we can do where we're still getting in touch, but we're calling or voice memoing. And then also, you know, we are, like, we live, like, now this is unique to me and my friends. Not a lot of people my age who live in a city still get this, but after college, most of my friends stayed here. So we can literally just be like I can show up at my friend's house, knock on their door, and like we established within our relationships with each other that like give me a quick call, or like even just like show up, I'll be around, if you want to come around you can. But that's like a conversation that we have, and when we're together we have again like above the board conversations about we don't like being on our phones, please don't be on your phone, I don't really want to watch TV, like let's go outside, like if we're going to like we'll do like a trade-off where it's like, okay, if we're not going to go out to a restaurant but we want to eat together, let's eat it outside.
Yeah.
Or even like, you know,
That's amazing.
but again, me and my friends, we have conversations where like we're basically negotiating this.
Yeah.
You know, because even like some of my friends don't actually want to do all that. Some of my friends like they-
Tired, overworked, of course.
or even they just like they do want to be on their phone. They do like one
Yeah.
of my friends. It's like
I know exactly. Who you're talking about,
Sunny's
yeah.
a big phone person to the extent of like when we eat together, she's like, Sadie, please, I know you don't like the phone, but like I like having the sound of Ugly Betty in the background while I'm eating. It just like, I think it's like she doesn't like hearing the sound of her own chewing or whatever, and it's like I'm like, okay, like that's fine, you know, but it's like when it comes to like the grassroots change of like making sure everybody's on the same page and like getting everybody's attitudes, like we are in our age bracket
Yeah.
working against the programming that we underwent as young people, because when we
Yeah.
so you want to talk about like
It's
you know
such an effort.
our generation
Yeah.
specifically was
Like-
on the wild west of the internet. The amount of people in our generation that had insane like inappropriate like conversations and relationships with like 30-year-olds on Kik or something like
AIM.
that, or AIM, or even AIM,
Or
like,
or Facebook, like
You know?
whatever.
But that had happened when I was growing up as well.
but not en masse.
Yeah.
And not to the extent that it is. Like, it's the internet was something that we were told was fun, was
Yeah.
the future. We were given classes. We were made to go through classes for like 5, 6, 7 years that would teach us how to type, how to use the internet, how to Google things, and we would be taught how to communicate with people.
Yeah.
So we weren't taught proper boundaries with the internet as we were growing up, and then social media comes slamming in.
Swooping in.
It's this highly addictive thing
Yeah.
that comes out when we're in middle school.
Yeah,
We're
that's fucked up.
13,
Yeah.
you know,
You
like,
had said the thing about the DARE program. Touch base
oh
on
my
that.
god. I wish, like if I was like head of
teacher or
a
something.
teacher, if I was like head of education like for the fucking United States, my initiative would be a DARE-like program for internet safety, because I mean, and honestly, it's gotten worse since we were kids,
Yeah.
but it is so unsafe for anybody, but especially a vulnerable, impressionable child.
Impressionable keyword.
Like when I'm
Yeah.
talking about I know a ton of people who had like inappropriate conversations with like people on Kick. So
Or you
Kick
see crazy videos, I bet, like that.
Right.
beheadings. You
Yeah.
can see
YouTube-
beheadings on TikTok.
When YouTube first started, like it had like a messaging forum, and you would like message these random
Yes, I
people on
forgot about
YouTube.
that.
Oh.
That
Everything
was
had a messaging
huge.
because it was
Like,
designed for adults.
Yes.
But kids took to it because it's fun.
Right.
I remember my little brother is like, my mom was like, all right, you guys cannot go see Deadpool. Like,
Yeah.
I forbid you, do not go see Deadpool. This is like a bad movie, it's rated R. And they're like, Mom, okay,
Yeah.
no doubt. And then she walks away and he like comes to me, he's like, yeah, I watched that last week. Like, I torrented it before it even came out.
We're
And I'm just sitting there like,
exposed.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Exposed.
something that is totally a warping of minds, because you have nobody around you to talk about it. you know?
Except other kids.
Except
Yeah.
other kids, and what do they know?
They don't know
We're all
anything.
just like figuring it out as we grow up.
Yeah.
Like
And it's like the websites that like kids are drawn to. When you're little, you'll start on like, you know, Webkins or
You're getting
Club Penguin,
curious.
you know, Neopets, but
Yeah.
then you're
Pop
kind
Tropica.
of you're
But
getting
anyway,
in trouble
yeah.
because other than like Pop Tropica,
Yeah,
really, all
right.
those places have a chat feature.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now you're talking to people that you assume are other children because you're like 7. Why would anybody who's not 7
You don't think about
be
that.
on a child's website?
Right.
Why would somebody be motivated for that? You don't know because you're a kid. Stranger danger, when we are taught about it when we're young, is like the guy in the van who's telling you your mom is sick and he's going to take you home from soccer practice today.
who's like offering you the candy or
Well,
like
there
what?
should
Exactly.
be more parent supervision, but I mean, we're kind of
But
getting
they're
off topic
working.
of like,
They're working.
yeah, of course.
Well,
Yeah.
we're circling back
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
We're laying the stage here.
Yeah.
Because you know, like for example, we're taught like, okay, don't get into a stranger's car in person, right? But we're not. No, children aren't
talk
taught.
about it.
Don't go to websites that people recommend to you.
Yeah.
That is a basic internet safety tip that I think all kids should be aware of. If somebody on a website that you're for whatever reason talking to is trying to get you to go to another website, especially if it's under the guise of like talking to you, like a Kick, Uvu, Skype kind of
Oh my
thing,
god, Uvu.
you shouldn't. But we're not taught about that.
Yeah.
So we're just like, well, it's the internet. They can't get me. You know, like this can't affect me. This is a game.
I also think like extreme violence must be like a huge big deal.
It's horrible.
You know, like.
Yeah.
But you know,
You
I
see,
mean, stuff
like-
like that's always gonna happen, and it's always inevitable. I guess what I'm saying is like, what is the sort of solution when the internet is there to sort of get people more outside or more, you know, not, you know,
Yeah.
not on the internet in their house? Because what I feel like what it really does more than anything, it's like I've been complaining about all this stuff, but what's really sad is that like there's a lot of people that love to talk and love life, and they're sitting at home doing nothing because they don't have anywhere to go, because there's no set thing. There's no Napoleon on Saturday night.
Well, here's the thing, just in my opinion. When the internet first came around, I was older.
Yeah.
And everybody I was with was like, well, that's really cool, but that's a fade. It'll disappear. Why would you want to be on that when you can go out and do stuff? And now it's, why do you want to go out and do stuff
But
when you
you
can
be on the
be
internet.
doing this stuff?
But people are so unhappy.
They
People are
are.
more unhappy
Yeah.
in a loneliness than
They
they've
don't
ever
know,
been.
but they don't really know the alternative. You
Ah,
know what
They've
I
never,
mean?
they've never
And
had it.
misery loves company.
Yes, everyone's kind of grouped
Ah.
together with this shared experience.
Yeah.
But they don't want to actually experience what's going on outside.
Well, what was it? What would be an
What's the
ex-
saying? It's not real unless it's on Facebook.
Yeah, or like on Instagram, or like
Instagram.
phone eats first,
Well,
or
what,
like
Yeah.
what's
yeah.
one thing? What's one thing that happened to each one of you guys? Have you gone out and has been like, oh my god, this was so much better than being at home on the internet?
Like everything. Anything
No,
that's ever
no,
happened.
just
really
like name
anything.
so not everything. Come on.
Everything is better in
But
person.
like to bring it to movies, like there are certain movies that are like that have come out that I'm like, okay, I cannot wait for this to go on streaming. Like I have to go to the movie theater to watch this. I want to watch it in Dolby sound, and I want to watch it in IMAX or like just like a theater, like a big screen, with a good audience, and like we're having a good time.
Yeah.
And then there's some movies where like, okay, no, like I'll wait for that streaming. It's just personal preference. Like it just like.
For me, sometimes my friends would just go watch a movie, and if it sucked, we would just sit there and make fun of it the whole time. It'd be really fun.
And
Yeah.
it's so fun.
But going to a movie now
Yeah.
again is like $30-$40. Not here, but like
Not
at
here
AMC.
for
But like
us,
you know, that's what I'm shocked about here is
Is
that
it
people
worth
don't
it?
people don't really. I guess they don't know about this place.
Or they
enough.
don't think it's worth it. They don't think it's
They
worth
don't. Yeah.
it.
They're
To,
taking the risk. That's a big
yeah.
thing.
They don't. People don't take risks anymore. They just go with what they know.
Yeah. It's always got to be safe. That's why like review channels are so
Yeah.
popular because you know you have somebody else who can like test run it for you.
Yeah.
So
and then you
what,
can
what
make
would
it-
be some solutions? Like throw something out at me. Just
To get
do
people
me and
out?
blow me. Yeah, to get out. Seriously, to get out, and not just to like get out of your house or like, but like what is like
You
you know.
take away the option.
Yes.
Like,
No, I think make it
That
cheaper.
won't happen
Or
though.
I think make
Cheaper.
it cheaper.
What?
That's the thing. Everything is such high overhead, and I know
But
that's
the
not.
thing is, that's not necessarily true because, granted, it was cheaper back when I was younger.
yeah.